Welcome back friends to another session of finite element methods of fluid dynamics. We are going to talk today about numerical integration. So, if you remember, the method involves integration of the governing equations, of course in their derived weak forms, over element level domains. Now, many of these integrals can be very complex and we may not be able to get the direct answer, open ended answers. So, we would like to do a numerical approximation to that and we will consider that in today's lecture. Let me first give you the motivation for doing this. So, if you recall, we had this element level stiffness matrix which was consisting of these components K, A, B, where A and B are the indices that refer to the rows and the columns. And if you recollect, for the toy problem, K, A, B, E was given as an integral over the domain omega E. Then we had the gradient of Na transpose K gradient of Nb d omega. So, you can see that this integral can get fairly complex. The domain may not be a straightforward domain which kind of aligns with the Cartesian axis, and additionally we could have certain situations where this conductivity matrix, or for that matter the other properties, if we are looking at linear elasticity, those may be dependent on the location of the integration. Okay. So, therefore, we are going to look at numerical integration. First, we will make some statement about the problem. So, let f be defined on omega E, which actually belongs to a real valued space of dimensions NSD, where NSD is the number of spatial dimension, and let f be a real valued function. So, we are right now looking at a scalar function. So, let this be a given function and we wish to evaluate something like integral of omega E f of x d omega. Okay. So, here x is the generalized coordinate. So, we can write this in terms of a vector coordinate. Okay. So, the problem is very simple, that there is this function f which is defined at all points inside this domain omega E, and I just need to calculate this integral. If I can get a closed answer, that is fine, otherwise I would like to approximate this. So, we will assume that f of x is smooth and integrable. So, the first thing that we do is we actually do a transformation of variables. So, we will transform x to zeta, which is actually the parent domain. And that would bring all element level integrals to exactly the same template. So, let me elaborate this now for different values of NSD. So, let us do NSD equal to 1, 2 and perhaps 3. So, for one spatial dimension, the integral would look something like this. It is a scalar depending on the x coordinate, and this would go down to the bi-unit square -1 to +1 f, and I will write x is also a function of xi, and this is the dx will be replaced by x comma xi d xi. So, fairly straightforward, right. Now, what happens at NSD equal to 2? Let us check that out. So, now I have f is going to be a function of x and y, and this is dx dy. So, this I am going to write this as a double integral -1 to +1 -1 to +1, and this f now I would like to write x is a function of xi eta, y also is a function of xi eta, and as far as dx and dy are concerned, I would like to write this simply as j, the Jacobian, and this would be d xi d eta. Okay. And we have already discussed what this Jacobian is, and I will write this down for you in a moment. We can generalize this to 3 dimensions also, quite straightforward. So, now f is going to be a function of x, y and z, and this is going to be now a volume integral dx, dy and dz. This I am going to replace it with a triple integral from -1 to +1 for all the 3 axes, and this f now x is a function of xi, eta and zeta. Similarly, y is a function of xi, eta, zeta, and z also is a function of xi, eta, zeta. So, that takes care of my function, and as far as dx, dy, dz are concerned, now I am going to write this as Jacobian, which are functions of xi, eta, zeta, and the integral is d xi, d eta, d zeta. Okay. So, I am transformed from the original Cartesian axis x, y and z to the parent domain, which would be like the bi-unit square in 2 dimension and the bi-unit cube in 3 dimensions, and we have already seen in 1 dimension this several times. So, J is the Jacobian, and this, as we know, is given as the determinant of del x by del xi. Okay. So, it kind of relates the transformation from the x, y, z coordinates to the xi, eta, zeta coordinates. So, now the problem is very simple, that if we want to do integration of let us say this quantity f in 1 dimension or in 2 or in 3 dimensions, I really need to understand how to do this integration of a certain quantity, let us take in 3 dimensions. So, I can combine f and j and call it as a function g, a new function g, which depends on xi, eta and zeta. So, so in each case the problem can be reduced to finding the following integral, which would be integral over -1 to +1, -1 to +1, -1 to +1. This would be g of xi, eta and zeta. So, this I am writing in 3 dimensions, and this would be d xi, d eta, d zeta, okay, where g includes both f as well as the Jacobian. Okay, so if I can calculate this integral, then actually I am done, and I can then take special cases of this in 1 and 2 dimensions. So we would like to concentrate on the, so we will study this for the 1D case, and then we will generalize it. So I am going to first show you how to calculate this integral in 1 dimension, and then we will come up with a strategy to generalize this to multi dimensions. Okay, so in 1D, the equation becomes -1 to +1 g as a function of xi d xi. And the proposal is that let us write this down as a concept in numerical integration. So I will replace the summation, the integral with the summation sign, where L goes from to ni and t, and I will evaluate the function g at these certain quadrature points. So the notation is that this is some kind of an error, and xi tilde L, these are quadrature points. And these WLs are weights. And we are saying that there are n int number of quadrature points. So the suggestion that is being made is that to calculate this integral, we can actually replace the integral with a summation over a certain number of points, and that is the number of quadrature points, and this would lead to some error, and if we are okay in the approximation, we can neglect the error and then write the following. So the integral -1 to +1 g xi d xi can now actually be approximated with this numerical integration L going from 1 to n int g of xi L tilde WL. Okay. So the whole problem boils down to evaluating this function g at a finite number of integration points, and we already somehow know what the weights are, and if we can sum this up, then we can get an approximation to this integral. I am sure you have seen some integration rules earlier, and let us take some examples. So the first example that I want to talk about is the famous trapezoidal rule. In this rule, we have two integration points, and these are actually, so zeta 1 tilde and xi 2 tilde, these are -1 and +1, and the weights are both 1. If we carry out with this quadrature rule, then it turns out that R, the residual, can be given as -2/3 the second derivative of the function g at a certain point z bar, where z bar lies in -1 to +1. So what is being said in trapezoidal rule is that you can simply replace the integral. So if I want to write the integral -1 to +1 g xi d xi, then this I can simply replace it with this summation. So, let me plug in the value. So, there are two quadrature points. So, the first one is, so I will evaluate g at -1 and the weight is 1, plus I evaluate at +1 and again the weight is +1, and the error that I would incur is given by this expression. And right away we can see that this is a second order accurate method, simply because the error involves a second derivative. So, if I had an expression which was either a constant or a linear, then I would get an exact integral, but if I had something like a quadratic polynomial, then I would incur an error, and the error would be related to the second derivative of this function. So, if you want to use trapezoidal rule, then this is the cost. There are 2 points and there is a certain error associated with it, and larger is this value, larger would be the approximation or the error that you incur. Obviously, if you want to come up with a better rule, then you would have to use more number of integration points. So, I will now give you an example where we will increase the number of integration points and then see what is the error that we incur.